He has to say nice things about me. Not a far better teacher than he is at all by any shape of the imagination. But I am excited to be covering this topic today because, to be honest, it is one topic where I feel like I am qualified to talk about this topic because church is kind of what we do in our family, okay? So church is our thing. So for the past 4 weeks, we've kind of been talking about this vertical connection we have, right? We've been talking about God, we've been talking about Jesus, and today we kind of take that horizontally, and we are going to talk about church, okay? Holy Catholic Church. I know the line has freaked out a lot of you, but we'll get to that in a minute, okay? So today we're going to talk about that. I feel like I'm qualified to talk about this today. I'll be honest, there are some Sundays when on my way up here, I will whisper to Tom and I will say, have 2 songs ready in case I run out of things to say, okay? I have honestly said that to Tom as I have passed him on our way down and up from the stage. Today I'm going to say this. At 11 o'clock, you guys might want to squeeze in, okay, to let the next group in. Because today I feel like I can talk about this, okay? February 9th, 1972, I came into this world, okay? It was a Wednesday. I am told that the following Sunday, I started going to church, okay? And I was thinking about it this week. Except for a 1-month break after I had my son, and I listened to what the doctors told me because it was my first child and I thought you had to keep him away from people for a long, long time. Apart from that 1-month break, I have been in church regularly for my entire life. For those of you who did the math, that's almost 46 years. Okay, I have not skipped a beat. Now, I know some of you will say, well, it's your family business. You don't really have a choice. Okay, I will tell you this part then. At 17, I left home. I went to university. I lived away from home for 4 years. During that time, I went to church, I would think probably at least 3 times a week. I led a Bible study in my dorms, and I was really heavily involved with church. So I have taken no breaks from this. So for today, I'm good with this, okay? So I have plenty to say today. Let me just say, some of you, when I say I've gone to church for 46 years, you say, oh, lightweight, I've been a lot longer than that, okay? So I'm going to one-up you. Here's how I one-up you. For 46 years, that means I've had one pastor. Okay, I've had the same pastor for 46 years. Not one of you in here can say that, okay? So I beat you on that one, okay? So let me just say this, and he's going to get mad at me for this. On the calendar, you may or may not know this, October is actually Pastor Appreciation Month. So let me just say on behalf of all of us, thank you, Dad. There you go. That's as sentimental as I get, but he knows that I appreciate him. And having worked with him the past several years, I have seen firsthand that what you see up here is the easy part of this job. Okay, there is a lot more to it because church, over the years, I've seen a lot with church. I've seen the good, but I've seen some ugly and I've seen some bad. And that's going to happen. We have a group here, not one of us is perfect. So you get a group of imperfect people together and things happen. So I really, the older I get, appreciate more and more what goes into what you do up here. So today we're going to look at Holy Catholic Church. Jesus talked about this kind of vertical relationship, this horizontal relationship in Mark. In Mark 12, he said this. One of the teachers of the law came and heard him debating. Noticing that Jesus had given them a good answer, he asked them, of all the commandments, which is the most important? The most important one, answered Jesus, is this. Hear, O Israel, the Lord your God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind and with all your strength. The second is this. Love your neighbor as yourself. There is no commandment greater than these. So Jesus here talked about what I'm talking about right now. For the past 4 weeks, we've talked about the vertical relationship. And now today, we're going to talk about horizontal, our relationships with one another. The second commandment, love your neighbor as yourself. The problem is in our modern world, we're not built that way anymore, okay? We don't spend any money on our front yards because we don't hang out in our front yards, right? We get in the backyard, we have fancy decks and fireplaces and privacy fences and cameras and lights that blind anybody who comes near us. We are all set for privacy. Some of us pull up to our house, we go straight in our garage, we park our car, we don't see people around us, right? And so for this was, this is something that we struggle with, a lot of us, is this loving each other, spending time with each other, communicating with each other, having a relationship with other people, because we tend to be so insular, okay? But that's what the Bible says that our hearts should be set for. Our hearts should crave a relationship first with God and secondly with each other. First commandment, second commandments, that's what we should be looking at. And that is why today we're looking at why should we believe in the Holy Catholic Church. So what I wanted to do first, I just want to break down the first two words of that. So holy, okay? Holy literally means different, okay? This Bible, Holy Bible, it's a book that's different. Keep the Sabbath day, remember the Sabbath day, keep it holy, keep it different. Holy means different, which means that we are not a social club that is just working on getting members in and worrying about ourselves. We are different as a church because we are worried about others. Our goal is to get others in, but not to make the numbers at Genesis Church bigger. Our goal is to get others in so that we can increase the names on the Book of Life, right? That's what it's all about. That's what we are working towards. So that is what makes us different. That's why we believe in Holy Church. We are different than any other kind of organization that there may be around, okay? Now I come to the next word. And this is the word where the first week I know Dad had us all read the Apostles' Creed. And I watched some of you and you said, I believe in the Holy Church, right? Because this one we struggle with, because for our minds, for a lot of us, Catholic is one thing that we just right away go to what we know, and that is Roman Catholic Church, okay? This has nothing whatsoever to do with that. In this instance, church means universal. Okay, so in this case, the meaning for the word Catholic, in every case, the meaning for the word Catholic, but especially here, is universal, okay? So we are not part of this church. What we are part of is part of a bigger group than just those who are sitting in this warehouse this rainy morning, okay? This time next week, in fact, exactly at this time next week, I'll be 30,000 feet up in the air, somewhere between here and the Dominican Republic with a team of others who are here today and some are in the next service. So we have a team of us going down next week to go to the DR to do some things down there. Whenever we take a team down, we spend our days, we work at the school or we go to the villages and do water filters. But one thing that we always do every week that we're down there is on Thursday night, we go to church down there. Okay, we go to the service. You guys met Pastor Freddie back in June. We go to Pastor Freddie's church and we spend an evening at their church. I will tell you that I will go to that service. I will not understand a single word that is sung. I will not understand a single word that is said unless they get a translator, and sometimes that gets a little tricky. But I will tell you this, that I have spent a number of services down there now, because we go every time we go down as a team. And I have sat there sometimes with just tears in my eyes. Because here's the thing, I don't understand a thing that's going on, but man, I feel the presence of Jesus in that place like you would not believe. You see these people who are worshiping, who are talking about, and I don't know what they're saying and I don't know what they're singing, but you can just sense that they're worshiping the same God as we just were. They're singing to that God, and then they're talking about things that I know that, that we talk about here. And that's the great part about universal, okay? We are part of something much bigger. We have brothers and sisters in Christ all over the world who we will never ever meet on this earth. But every Sunday or every day that they worship, they are singing to the same God that we sing to. They're following the teaching of the same book that we follow the teaching of. They're all over the world doing the same things that we are doing, and it's sometimes great to remember that we are part of this amazing thing, right? It's incredible to watch what God is doing here, but then you go and you remember that that's tiny in comparison to what God is doing worldwide. In fact, we get a small glimpse of it in Revelation. In Revelation, it says this, 7:9. After this I looked, and there before me was a great multitude that no one could count, from every nation, tribe, people, and language, standing before the throne and before the Lamb. They were wearing white robes and were holding palm branches in their hands. And they cried out in a loud voice, "Salvation belongs to our God, who sits on the throne, and to the Lamb." If you love Genesis, and hopefully you do because you're sitting here this morning, okay, that's a great thing to know. But here's the deal. We're not in competition with any other church, okay? We're all on the same side. The only person we were in competition to was already beaten, and we have nothing to worry about with that. That's why this morning we can stand up here and we can pray for a church that's starting 6 miles down the road, because you know what? That's good. We need more of that because we need more boots on the ground. We all need to be working towards the same thing. So that's the great thing about this universal thing, okay? Because also the church is universal, we need to remember that we need to make sure there's no barriers of race, there's no barriers of social, economic, there's no barriers of political party even. I said it, okay? No. If we are universal, we are accepting, okay, we want to bring people in, we can't have barriers, okay? Sorry. So, that's what Catholic means. So next time you say the Apostles' Creed, you can say that with oomph, right, okay? Because we are part of something universal. Brings me to the third word, okay? So, church. Church, this is the one that I know about. So why am I so passionate after almost 46 years about church? Why am I so passionate about it? Number one, church gives me family, okay? We were all set in families, biological families, but the great part about church is God has set us in this spiritual family together, okay? Everybody is together. We are part of a family. We often get a lot of questions, and for those of you who don't know, right now you've been trying to work out my accent, okay? And you're trying to work out where I'm from, and we get a lot of questions about that. So people say, are you English? Are you Scottish? We were all born in England, okay? But when I was 4, Dad went to the northeast of Scotland, and we all moved there, and that's where we lived, okay? He became a pastor up there, and we lived there from the time I was 4 till my parents came to America when I was 19. I stayed in Scotland till I was 21. So basically, if you ask me where I'm from, I'm going to say Scotland, but I was born in England, okay? It's just kind of where I grew up and what I know. But the thing was, when we moved all the way up there to the northeast of Scotland, it became that all of our family, aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents, they were all down in England still. So we kind of grew up where it was just our family was, the only Blackmores who were up there. We didn't have holidays together with family members because they were all hundreds and hundreds of miles away in a different country down in England. So I remember that growing up then, the church really was our family. Okay, there was an old lady who would come and babysit and would watch us, and if my brother and I, were bored, some days we'd just go visit her and stuff. She became like a grandmother. We had other couples in the church who lived by us. They became aunts and uncles, and we called them that. And that was what that was what church became for us. Church truly was our family. I guess in hindsight, God was kind of preparing us for the fact that one day he would move us with an ocean between us and our family, and that's really what there is now. We've never had, you guys all get together for Thanksgivings and things like that. We've never ever done that because we've always been so far apart from our families. Not that we really celebrate Thanksgiving anyway, sorry, 20 odd years later, we're still haven't quite got that one down pat. But, our family, church becomes our family. Colossians 2 says this, "So then, just as you received Christ Jesus as Lord, continue to live your lives in him, rooted and built up in him, strengthened in the faith as you were taught, and overflowing with thankfulness." Here's the thing, when we became Christians, when we got saved, it was not the end of, okay, that's it, I've arrived, I'm done, there's no more, there's nothing else to learn, nothing else to do. It's a journey, okay? So we continue to live for him. We're always learning. We're always growing. We're always moving forward to that eternal destination that we're heading on. And the thing about learning and growing is you need somebody to learn and grow from, okay? You need to know things. So that is why it is great on this journey that God has put us in a family, put us together, knowing that we're not alone. Road trips tend to be a little boring if you do them by yourself, right? If you're the only one in the car, because who's giving you directions or telling you that you're not doing something right or doing whatever, right? But the great part is on this road trip that we're all on towards, as we head towards heaven, we have each other. We are family, okay? And man, I feel blessed every time I look out here to see so many of you who you have become our family to us. And it is great that we are able to do that. We have things in common, so we are together on this journey together. Genesis 2:18 said this, "The Lord God said, it is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a helper suitable for him." God never intended us to walk through life alone. In fact, I was thinking the other day about the fact, our ultimate example is Jesus. And when you look at Jesus, Jesus didn't walk through this world alone. He had his 12 disciples who were with him, and then he had the closer friends out of that close-knit group. Even he realized that going through this alone was not the way to go, okay? And the verse I just read, that's the first thing that God said after he created Adam. Everything was perfect. Everything was good. Man, he was in that garden with everything he could ever ask for. But God said, it's not good for man to be alone. God hates loneliness. He doesn't want us to be lonely. And honestly, in this day and age, it seems to be an epidemic, loneliness, I hate to say. Part of the problem is our relationship rule kind of is 1,000 miles wide and an inch deep. And what I mean by that is you can have 1,000 Facebook friends, but you can still be lonely because they're not real relationships that you are gaining on those. In fact, a couple of years ago, they did a study, a charity over in the UK did a study, and at that point they found that the average person had 237 Facebook friends. Okay, I realized that was probably quite a few years ago when Facebook was quite new. But they then asked them, how many of those friends could you count on in an emergency? And the average answer was 2. So many of us have these different relationships, but now it's time for us to find people that we have things in common with, okay, that we can get deeper with, that we can share with, that we are family with. Psalm 68:6 says it right here. God sets the lonely in families, okay? God sets the lonely in families. That's what he's done, okay? For so many of us, we were searching and we were looking and we weren't sure where to search and for look. And God has put us together as a family. Family loves, family cares, family accepts, family supports, okay? Family honestly sometimes drives you nuts too, but you also know that even though they're driving you nuts, they're always there for you. You know what I'm saying? And even though somebody might drive you nuts, you know that they would be there in an emergency if you needed something, if something was going on. And that is the great thing about God putting us together in families. On Sundays, I don't come here because there's a free breakfast or because the band, is really good or because the preaching is good most weeks, okay? I come here because it's family time. Honestly, that is one of the things that gets me out of bed on a Sunday morning. I know I'm going to see people that I love hanging out with, I love spending time with, I love chatting with, finding some things about, and that is the great thing. So that is number one. I believe in church because church gives me family, and it's given us each other. And number two, church gives me partners, okay? Ecclesiastes 4:9, it says this. It says, 2 can accomplish more than twice as much as 1, for the results can be much better. There are things that we can accomplish as a church that wouldn't happen if we were completely isolated, okay? There are things that I cannot do on my own, but when we get together and we pool our resources and we, look at problems together and how can we solve them, we are able to do it much, much better when there are a group of us tackling that issue than if there was just one person doing it. Ephesians 2:10 says this, "For we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do." We're made to do good works. So you know what? Let's do them together because we can get a lot more accomplished when we do. Next Sunday morning, as I'm sitting in my comfortable JetBlue seat watching whatever's on the TV at that point, underneath us in the hold, there's going to be 150 water filters, okay? We're going to be bringing 150 of these over. In this bag, there is a water filter that we're going to take to the villages, and we're going to install these. What is in here attaches to a bucket. They are then able to put their dirty, and I mean dirty, disgusting water in there. It runs through this filter, and out will come water that they can use and that they can drink. One of the heartbreaking pictures that I've ever seen, it was from a couple of years ago, and for a lot of them, they have no access to clean water. So there was a mother with her child, and an infant, tiny little infant, and she's standing in front of her house, and I don't remember who on the team took the picture, but what she was doing was, she was collecting rainwater. It would run down her rusty, corrugated roof of her house. I mean, they live in shacks, most of these people. It ran down this rusty roof into this big rain barrel. And then she would make formula for that baby with that rusty water. That was what she used. And the fact that we are able to go, and we've done over 1,000 of these so far, okay, of water filters. This time around, we're going to do 150 of these. Now, some of you are sitting there saying, hold on, I must have missed the offering for the water filters, because oftentimes we said to you, we're going down, we need to take an offering up to buy these water filters, because they're $45 each between the filter and the bucket. So this time around, you're looking at almost $7,000 worth of equipment that we're bringing down there. We didn't take an offering. I will tell you what has happened. The last team that went down was a year ago. Last November was the last water filter team. Since last November, you guys, people in this congregation, have just given money. Every so often, I'll get checks, or some people have set it up online. Every week, they give some money in addition to their tithes. It goes towards water filters. So the other week, when we were trying to work out what we could do on this team, I looked and I said, we have enough money there for 150 water filters. We didn't have to ask you guys for a penny. And it wasn't just one person. It wasn't that somebody said, here's $7,000, buy water filters. Literally, the gifts were $25, $50 here, $100 there. Some people give $5 a week, whatever it took. But here's the great part. We can partner together, and because people partnered with us, and because we were able to do it as a group, next week we will go to 2 different villages. Each village, we will give 75 homes the gift of clean water. And in all honesty, when you're talking, when I say that we're going to give 75 homes, it kind of spread more than that, because the way these villagers, they kind of share a lot of stuff. So 75 homes actually will translate to a lot. Each of these filters will last them for 10 years. So for the next 10 years, these families will have clean water. And honestly, it's thanks to so many of us, because we can partner together when we're part of a church. One of the things that I love. When you came in today, you were given a piece of paper for Thanksgiving, okay? So in 2 weeks, we're going to be giving out Thanksgiving baskets. Not one person could provide enough for all the Thanksgiving baskets. So today we shared with you, this is the need. If you guys can help us, this is what we're going to do. Because when we share it with a group of you, okay, when we partner together, we are able to do so much more. So because I know that you guys will start bringing in things for those Thanksgiving baskets, this Thanksgiving we'll have families, dozens and dozens of families who may not have been able to celebrate Thanksgiving, okay, who now will have the means and the food to do that. Church gives me partners so that I can partner together, because we're better together than we are individually. We can accomplish so much more than we can individually. And let me just say, if the world is not a better place because Genesis Church is in it, we may as well close the doors and go home. Sorry, it's the truth. If this world is not impacted by this church being here, what are we here for? Okay, that is our mission. That is our goal in life, is we have to be out there, and we need to be reaching the world, and we are able to do that because we are able to accomplish so much more when we pool our resources, when we work together, when we look to do things together than we can when we are apart. Church gives me partners. That is a great part of what we do. And let me just say this, number 3, church gives me support, okay? I've talked in the past about how life has not exactly gone how I thought it would go when I was a little girl growing up. And honestly, at times, the support that I received from my church friends was kind of what got me through to the next day. There were some days I wasn't sure I was going to make it, and church offered me that support. And we all need that because we're all going to spend times on mountaintops, and we need friends there with us to cheer us on, to celebrate with us. But we also, all of us, right, are going to spend time in the valley. And when we're down there, we need people right there alongside us, consoling us, encouraging us, building us up, providing for things for us that we may need. And that is the great thing about church, is it gives me support. The New Testament actually gives us a bit of a guide for that, okay? And it's in the form of these things that we're calling one another's, okay? In the New Testament, there are actually 59 one another's that come in there, and they are there to enable us to help each other, to support each other, and know how to do it, okay? In the early church, one of their primary purposes actually was one anothering one another, okay? So let me give you some examples. In the New Testament, it says love one another, okay? It actually says that 15 times. So, okay, just in case you didn't hear it, the first 14, it was put in there 15 times. Love one another. And like I say, I realize that can be tough, okay? There are times when it can be hard to love one another. It can be times where it's hard enough to like one another. Love one another takes it to another level, but that's what we need to do to support each other. Serve one another, okay? Be of service to one another. Be devoted to one another. Help each other out, okay? Accept one another. Ooh, okay? Accept one another. No matter what, we accept each other, right? Greet one another. Okay, this one actually says, I chopped it, but I shouldn't have. Greet one another with a holy kiss. Is in there 3 times, okay? So I'm just saying, Long Island is ahead of the game on that one, okay? It's one thing I had to learn when I came to this country. We shake hands where I come from. Okay, strengthen one another. Encourage one another. Encourage one another is there 4 times. You getting the idea here? The Bible really, really is talking about how we need to support each other. Forgive one another. Ooh, another toughie, right? Can be hard at times to do that. But the Bible here is telling us to do it. Carry each other's burdens. Again, when you're going through the valley, sometimes what you really, really need is somebody there alongside you, right? Just helping you, propping you up, just getting you from where you need to go, you know, where you are to where you need to go. Bear with each other. Build each other up. I won't keep going on, but you get the idea, right? This is our framework for how we should be supporting one another. Now, here's the thing. None of these things are possible if I come in here on a Sunday and I just sit in my chair, I sing, I listen, and I head straight back out afterwards, right? None of these are possible if we just do that. But as we connect with each other, as we build community, as we join a family, I come to a place of being able to one another, right? We are able to do those things, to love one another, support one another, encourage one another. Because if I don't know you, I don't know how to do those things to you, right? I don't know how to support you. I don't know how to bear your burdens. I don't know how to encourage you if I don't know anything about you. So as we come in here and we connect and we get to know each other, that helps us to be able to do that. And let me just say, easy ways to connect with each other. We talk about it a lot. Tuesday nights are a good way to connect with each other because we break up into smaller groups. If you serve on some kind of ministry team, okay, it's a great way to connect and get to know each other because you're serving together. You're able to, chat with people, get to meet people you may not already know. There are different ways that you can connect with other people. Even the part of the service, which I'll be honest, is my least favorite part of the service, when we say hello to each other. I just want to crawl up. I'm the quiet Blackmore, okay? But even at that point, the quiet Blackmore who just talked for half an hour, but you know what I'm saying. Even at that point is a good opportunity, go outside yourself, find somebody, say hi to them. You may find you have more in common than you thought you did, but we are only able to do that as we make connections with each other. That's the only way I can support others and receive the support that I need in return at times that I need it, all right? So church gives me support. It helps me when I am doing those things. So, recap. Church gives me family. Church helps me and gives me partners. And church gives me support. The fact that you're sitting in here when there's a nor'easter going outside as opposed to all the people who usually would be in the empty chairs means I'm guessing you guys get the church part, okay? You get how important church is, and for all the reasons I've said, and honestly there are dozens and dozens more reasons why church is such an incredible thing. Let me encourage you. Keep finding ways to connect to others. Keep finding ways to support others. Keep finding ways to partner with other people. Find ways that you can do those things. And as you do those things, you're going to find that you're strengthened, but you're also strengthening those around you. You're helping those around you. We're able to also, from that point, go out and help others in this world as you are doing that. So just keep thinking about that, keep believing it. And that is why I believe in the Holy Catholic Church. Amen.
Okay, well that was the quiet Blackmore. That's good. I believe in the Holy Catholic Church. I believe in the Holy Catholic Church. She doesn't preach as long as her father, so the band weren't quite ready. So I'm just filling in. So, because I'm the loud Blackmore. Why don't we put that statement back up on the screen, please, Christian? I believe in the Holy Catholic Church. Here's what I want to encourage you to do. Would you stand with me just now? As the band get ready to lead us in our final song. And let's make this assertion together. I believe, because I do you? I fully believe. You understand, Catholic isn't Roman Catholic. It's the Church Universal. And the reason we're standing here today is because church means so much to us. And we do believe. You ready? Let's say this together. I believe in the Holy Catholic Church. Let's say it again like we mean it. I believe in the Holy Catholic Church. Now here's what I want you to do. Turn to somebody beside you significantly and say, thank God that you're part of this church.